Sure. Yes, we love it. We love it. We all know that when the Livingston Bridge was first built 150 years ago, our nation was divided. We were at civil war with each other. But this bridge, the Livingston Avenue Bridge, was built to do the opposite, to be a connection, to bring people and places together. And that legacy continues to endure here in this incredible city. This bridge has crossed the Hudson, linking Albany and Rensselaer, but also the trains that went over the tracks have linked people from New York City to upstate all the way over to Buffalo for generations. But sadly, since it was once a brand new shining bridge, it has deteriorated, rusted, declined, crying for investment and attention where there was none. Well, that legacy of abandonment ends today. And I want to thank the individuals who've worked so hard to right the wrongs of the past, the neglect, the uncaring attitude, and put us on a trek toward a better future. Commissioner Dominguez, head of DOT, she and I have been together nonstop. We had the Gateway Project in New York City this past couple days ago, the largest public infrastructure project in American history going on right now. We worked on an airport over in Syracuse. Here we are in Albany, and we're just getting warmed up. So thank you and your team, everyone from DOT, thank you. We know how hard you work, and you're committed to accomplishing my goals of making sure that we use infrastructure as a tool to create jobs, fix the decline of the past, and lead us into a better future. So again, thank you for your incredible team. Congressman Paul Tonko, we served together in Congress. I know how hard he fights for this area, and we're looking to him and to our partners with Chuck Schumer and Kirsten Gillibrand to help continue to bring home the bacon as you have. And this project could use a little more help, and you know that, and you're helping us. Okay? How is that for a good pitch? Kathy Sheehan, my adopted hometown mayor. Incredible leadership here as well. There's been always challenges in any city, but you've always have the team and the attitude to just get it done and to continue focusing on what matters, and that's the quality of life of the people who call Albany home. So thank you, Mayor. Thank you for all you do. I have amazing partners from this region in our capital. They have the shortest commute in the state. With all that extra energy, they're out there in their communities. So to Assemblymember Pat Fahey, Assemblymember John McDonald, thank you both for supporting these projects with the dollars that we put behind them. I'm so grateful for that as well. Assemblymember Scott Bendet, thank you very much as well. We appreciate your service to all of us. And our friends from Amtrak, who's here from Amtrak? All right, Amtrak's in the house. Let's get these trains rolling, right? That's what you know how to do best. The members of the REDC Council, the Regional Economic Development Council, and all of our community partners who are here. So it's stating the obvious that this bridge is near the end of its life, right? Don't need any more symbols. It's been frustrating travelers across the state with delays and the reliability issues which have been there. You know, what happens here affects the rest of the state. So when trains have to slow down to 15 miles an hour instead of 40, that has a ripple effect throughout every other community along the way. It affects people's ability to get to work on time, to get home, to carry on their business. And so, that's not okay. And that's not the reputation I want my adopted hometown to have as the bottleneck or the problem area, okay, right? We don't like that, right, Mayor? No, we're not the problem area. We are this people who solve the problems, and it's not the reputation that this glorious city deserves. And I can say glorious city because I was so proud to show off this city to the King and Queen of the Netherlands just a few weeks ago as they came on a journey to talk about what had happened over 400 years ago when this city first became a center of commerce. And we talked about the Hudson River, how critically important it is, but also the connections across the river, which are critical. So I know that this city has a glorious past, but I feel confident we continue making these investments in the people, the places, and the infrastructure. We're going to continue on even better than we had been before. So let's talk about what we're doing here. $634 million. We'll be restoring the two-track operation. increased, as I said, the train speeds from 15 miles an hour to 40, more than doubling it. Building a reliable lift bridge and signal system. That's so important. And also, as a bicyclist who buzzes around this community, you don't know it's me, but that's me out there sometimes early in the morning, not going very fast, but I'm there. We're going to create a bike path and a pedestrian walkway that'll connect bicyclists and walkers across the river. How magnificent is that? So as I said, we're looking forward to Washington for further help with our champions there, people who long believed in this project, like Congressman Tonko, but we just can't wait any longer. Show us the money when you can, but this project has to move ahead. So that's why I made the commitment saying, no, we've waited long enough. This community has waited long enough. Our passengers have waited long enough, and we're going to make sure we get this done. So I want to get it done. I'm told 2028. This is what I always do to the people in the industry. Can we shave a year or two off? Okay? See what you can do. See what you can do. I'll be around to check. So if we can make that a little quicker, that'd be awesome. But I think that's where we're heading for right now. But I also want to say as someone who rides my bike around the city and observes everything, there's also another eyesore that can't escape my line of sight when I'm down in this beautiful area. It's more visually assaulting than most. In fact, it has had challenges that actually affect our ability to run our trains successfully. A place that was once a hub of industry is now a monument to blight and poses a danger to train passengers when debris falls on the tracks. Therefore, I'm saying a new day has dawned. We are announcing $10 million from New York's Restore program to accomplish what has been so challenging in the past, and that is the demolition of this tower of neglect, the Central Warehouse. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Let's get it done. Let's get it done. Let's get it done.
Thank you, Governor.
And I want to look really nice. Okay? Okay, I want to look really nice. And I want to thank County Executive McCoy, who couldn't be here today, but he has been, every chance he gets my ear, which is often, he has been advocating for this as well as our mayor and our delegation here as well. So both of these projects send a signal that this is a community that matters, it's worth investing in, its people are worth investing in, and these will both connect our communities in better ways. And it continues my effort across the state. My philosophy is undo the wrongs of the past now. Don't let more time waste. That's why over in Buffalo, we're connecting communities that have been severed back in the 1950s and 60s when there was this effort to have highways out of our downtown areas to expedite the white flight that was occurring. And it destabilized our downtown areas. So we're healing that community as well. We're also working on other areas like the Albany waterfront. When you think about, I always want to say, what were they thinking? What were they thinking? And from Buffalo to Syracuse, right, we have beautiful waterfront here in Albany. Why wouldn't you leave this open for the community? It's a treasure. But there was time that the waterways were just used as an industrial passage, a place you put industry and use the water and the ships come through, not realizing that water is so healing for people. People need to have that sense of calm that the water, the streams, our rivers bring to them. So let's connect the people to the waterways every way we can. And I'm going to continue making those investments as we're talking about fixing up the waterfront here as well, because this is personally important to me. I'm a boater, I'm a biker, I'm a walker, I'm a resident. So I also, at a personal level, believe in projects and expediting them as soon as possible. And the person who's going to make that happen for me is our commissioner. I want to thank her for, again, leadership matters in roles like yours. That can-do attitude. Because you have a governor that's going to tell you that you have to do it anyhow, even though there's challenges. You know that. You don't even say, Governor, it's impossible. You always do the impossible. And I'm so proud of you and your work. Ladies and gentlemen, let me bring up our Commissioner of DOT, Marie-Therese Dominguez.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Governor, thank you so very much. I have to tell you, I speak with my counterparts across the country every day, and I can say without hesitation, there is no state in America doing more to reconnect communities than New York State under Governor Kathy Hochul. With billions being invested across the state, DOT is carrying out the governor's bold vision to reconnect communities. From the Bronx to Syracuse, Rochester, she talked about Buffalo. But what does all this mean? I want to contextualize it a little bit. It's what the governor said. We're taking down the infrastructure that has outlived its useful purpose, infrastructure that divided communities. And in its place, we're designing transportation solutions that truly reflect the needs of the community that we now serve, the communities that we now serve, all with an eye towards the future. And here in the Capital Region, it means we're building a new Livingston Avenue rail bridge. We're reestablishing an important connection between the cities of Albany and Rensselaer, while fundamentally improving rail service, which will have a hugely positive impact to the entire community here. And as the governor so articulately stated, this has enormous impacts statewide. When you talk about reliability of train service, both freight and passenger, it's historic. The bottom line is the existing Livingston Avenue Bridge is a historic structure, but it's come to the end of its service life. It's hindered right now by weight, clearance, and speed restrictions. And while it's safe, it doesn't meet the current standards. For those traveling on the Empire Corridor, you know exactly what I mean. You can literally be on the other side of the track. You can see Rensselaer Station, but you can't actually get there because you're having to wait, right? Because it's single tracked right now. You can only have one train on the bridge at a time. All of that changes today. Under Governor Kathy Hochul's leadership, we are investing more in transportation infrastructure than at any point in time in our state's history. And today we start construction on a new modern lift bridge here in the Capital Region. It'll be located just south of the existing one that's here right now. It's going to be comprised of 7 spans, all of which will meet the current safety standards for height, width, and speed. Why is this so important? It's because the new bridge will be wider and able to carry heavier freight trains. So, as in addition to all of that, it's also going to be able to carry 2 passenger trains at the same time. It's going to accommodate marine traffic in a more efficient manner. All of this in an effort to move every mode of transportation safely, including bike and ped. So the governor talked about her, like literally, believe me, I can tell you, it doesn't matter where I am in the state. I have had people come up to me and say, you know, the governor was biking through here the other day. And it's true. The bottom line is that we're going to have not only a more efficient freight and passenger rail system here statewide, but as a result of all of that, the more we're able to put on freight trains, the fewer trucks we have on the road, the less greenhouse gas emissions we have. There's ripple effects to all of this, including the opportunity to use different modes of transportation, and that's exactly what the governor's talking about when she's talking about bike and ped access. We're going to be able to connect to the Empire State Trail, the Rensselaer Riverfront Trail, all of the work that's being done here on the waterfront, Mayor Sheehan, and then everyone is going to be able to enjoy the incredible opportunities here in the Capital Region. Bottom line, this bridge is a game changer. It represents the governor's bold vision to invest in people, invest in communities through transformative infrastructure investments. Today, DOT and our partners at Amtrak, CSX, we're officially beginning that journey to bring the new Livingston Avenue Bridge to life. So, Governor, thank you very much for your bold vision and your leadership. We greatly appreciate it. It's my honor to introduce one of the hardest working members of Congress, our own, and I'm going to say this with a Spanish accent because he just reminded me, Paul Tonko is an amazing representative for all of us here in the Capital Region. Paul Tonko.
Thank you, Commissioner. I told the Commissioner the late Senator Olga Mendez was in Amsterdam, my hometown, and meeting with the Latino community, and left there saying, they all spoke fondly of Potanco. And I said, that was my name in one word, so I like it. It's easier, one word. So, well, Good morning, everybody, and thank you, Governor, for the invitation. Thank you for the vision, the investment, the belief, and the support of connectability that is so important to our communities. This is a great moment of celebration to join with my colleagues in the State Assembly and the State Senate to be, and also with our mayor and others who, and the leadership of the state, with the governor and the commissioner, knowing that how important this all is. And a special shout out to my friends from the Amtrak team. So they're constant buddies. I see them all the time. My favorite form of travel is rail, so it is good to invest in the rail here this morning. As many families know, it is about connectability, livable, workable communities, being able to provide with those systems in a modern era of connectability. And so today is an effort here now that celebrates that great connection of two sides of a very historic waterway, a channel that obviously has spoken to all sorts of greatness throughout since the days of discovery by Henry Hudson. And so we celebrate that connection that is part of our soul, making certain that as we have a more coordinated effort, as we deal with the issues of transformation, with the bipartisan infrastructure bill, there are a lot of potential. We can coordinate, we can bring about those holistic models that incorporate all forms of travel, and when we make rail accessible and more effective, we're providing for a greater use of that system. And as we connect those systems to various components, be they the airports and the buses and ferries and that last mile solution, we're then providing for a livable community for all. So this very ancient bit of infrastructure, 1865, deserves these multi-hundreds of $600+ million investment that enables us to go forward with technology again in play. A hydraulic lift to the bridge that allows us to meet all of the needs. A railway, a bikerway, a walkway. These are quality of life components that enable us to go forward by meeting the utmost demands and at the same providing for those workable solutions that enable us to enhance the quality of life. I have long supported this effort, and it's not without effort. I can tell you, Governor, that we have tried with the Christie funds, we've tried with various dedicated pots of transportation monies. We're in the midst of our appropriations process. We're going to continue to be stalwart in our efforts to make certain there is a leveraging of funds for the need of this bridge. I'm sure Livingston Avenue Bridge is going to still have demands for resources. So we will continue to pledge to work very hard to make that difference. But as we go forward, I think of all of the efforts that have to be made to persuade people that rail travel is an effective, efficient form of travel. It not only connects our communities, it empowers our neighborhoods, it allows for economic recovery, economic growth, it allows for the development of jobs, and it is the most effective use of travel in terms of carbon reduction. So as we reduce that carbon emission, we're doing a great deal to address climate. So this is an all-in-all win for all that are involved here. I was really discouraged when I saw last year's appropriations process when the majority in our House, the Republican majority, zeroed out Amtrak aid. I said, you've got to be kidding me. You know, what is more fundamental than having public transit via rail? And our goal should be not to wipe out investment from the federal level for Amtrak and transportation models, but to make certain that they're more accessible, that they're more reliable, and this will do that. You know, knowing that we're going to allow for better service delivery time and better, a stronger ridership is very important. So I was encouraged, excited to see last year's commitment from the bipartisan infrastructure law that provided for $2 million for various networks here in the Capital Region, with our Empire Rail, with our Adirondack Rail, with the Green Mountain Rail, the Boston, Albany corridors. All of this interconnectability is important. And so we live in a good crosshair from Montreal to New York, from Boston to Chicago. We are right in that crosshair, and we are a happening place. and transportation, effectiveness of transportation, looking at rich, knowing our ports need the investment. All of this infrastructure is great, great opportunity. So what you've done here is put the fundamental foundation there, the underpinning of support for this great bridge. We go forward and we're challenged now to continue to deliver on behalf of the Livingston Avenue Bridge. And thank you for the good news on the warehouse. I too travel by that all the time. And I know that the mayor and all the local leaders are very excited to have that happen. So I see Pat Fay doing a thumbs up, John McDonald nodding, yeah, Scott, everybody's really happy about it. Super. So look, this is us working together, all levels of government, making certain that there's a difference. We need that bipartisan, multi-level of government effort, and to go forward and know that the people win when we do that. So with these very transformational bills, like the CHIPS and Science Act, the transformation that comes with efforts with the infrastructure bill, and certainly with the Inflation Reduction Act, there are monumental changes coming with historic funding, and woven into that historic funding are a lot of policy changes, public policy changes that provide for certainty and predictability, so that everyone is investing in this new era of a challenge, of a robust economy that is driven by science and certainly by historic efforts of research too. So it's happening. It's really good to see, and this is just terrific news. So hooray, hooray. It's great to be here, and thank you for the invitation. And now I get to introduce the three-term mayor of the capital city, who has been very, very successful and knows that urban cores are where it's at, and we need to invest in our cities, not abandon them. Invest in our cities, because there lies our history, our heritage, our services. So, Mayor Sheehan, great job. Keep it going.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And Governor Hochul, this is truly an historic day for the city of Albany. We have been talking about the Livingston Avenue Bridge for decades. I remember going to public meetings before I even had a glimmer of thought of ever running for public office, just as a concerned resident of the city of Albany who wanted to see the Livingston Avenue Bridge not only rehabilitated but reconnected for those of us who wanted to do more with this waterfront that had been cut off by this highway system. And so it's truly historic that under your leadership we are moving forward with this. And so thank you. Thank you for that leadership, because that is what it took. I remember when we opened the Skyway, and in your remarks you said the next thing we're going to do is this bridge. And Commissioner, there were a lot of DOT people whose I saw their mouths, their jaws drop a little bit when the governor gave them their timeline, but that's what leaders do. And your department and under your leadership, you've stepped up and you're making it happen. So thank you for your leadership as well, Commissioner. I think that, Governor Hochul has assembled a team of commissioners that work with local electeds in a way that is so refreshing, so effective, and so impactful, which is why I think we are moving so quickly with these projects, not just here in Albany, but all across the state. I also want to thank my partner in local government, our county executive, Dan McCoy. When we first applied for a grant to, we hope, rehab the eyesore that is the cold storage facility, we worked together on that, and we were successful in getting that grant, but unfortunately, the engineering reports and the deep dive that was done as a result of that stimulus, right, that impetus of, yes, go forward, we want to help you, that came from the state that was critically essential, we quickly realized that that building needed to come down. And so we went back to the state, we turned back the grant that you had given us, and we reapplied, and the partnership has been so strong and so important. Because when we think about the future of our cities and when we think about the future of this waterfront, I'm in my third term, but I'm a realist. I aspire, I dream, I hope. I imagine a day when we have a very different infrastructure between our downtown and our waterfront, but I'm also very strategic. And so when I came into office, I realized that standing here and demanding to tear down 787 was something that I could say, it would capture headlines, but it wouldn't necessarily ever happen. And so I started to work with our team to say, what investments can we make so that we are creating a waterfront that you want to connect to? And that meant completing the rail, the bike lanes down here. That was the first thing that we did. Many people don't remember that. That project was about to die. We were about to give $5 million back to the federal government because that project had not advanced. And so we advanced it and we made it happen. And then I said to DOT, give me a ramp, right? If you can't give me the whole highway, give me a ramp. And then we ended up with the Skyway. The Skyway, which has thousands and thousands of pedestrians walking across it and reconnecting with the riverfront every week. And we know that it has been incredibly successful, and it's driven additional investment in our downtown. And so the next step was the Livingston Avenue Bridge. We built that Skyway with the belief that the Livingston Avenue Bridge was going to get done, and it was going to have bike and pedestrian access across it. So that it now made even more sense, connecting all of the investments that have been made by the state and by those who recognize the importance of transportation and connection and giving people more options. And so now being able to take down the central warehouse and reimagine what that might look like. The accessibility of Lock 1 from the very beginning of our history, one of the most important parts of the history of this city that has been lost to time. Tearing down that warehouse now opens up possibilities for future investment. And one thing that we've done, and we're going to have a ribbon cutting pretty soon, is we had to deal with the quality of the water in this river. When I became mayor, we were still discharging during heavy rain events floatables. We can all imagine what those are. It's not that close to lunch. You can get it out of your mind by the time you get to lunch, but floatables into this river. And now we have completed the Beaver Creek Clean River project, and we have ended centuries of raw sewage being dumped directly into the Hudson River. Those investments might not seem sexy, but they are every bit as important to the building of a strategy that is bringing us closer and closer to this riverfront and to this treasure and to the future of the city. And so I am grateful to this governor for recognizing that there are investments that you make, and it might be 10, 15 years from now before some of the things that we want and hope for are actually accomplished. But if we don't do what we're doing now, that 10 or 15 years becomes 20, 30, 40 years. So these investments that you're making today are investments that are going to live on for decades and decades to come, because if not, but for your vision and your investment in what you are doing right now here in the city of Albany, none of that would be possible. So thank you for your leadership. Thank you for recognizing how important this city is, not just to us who live here, but this is the capital of New York State. And this region is a region that is growing. This region is a region that is on fire, and there is nothing we can't do when we come together and recognize that we have to work together bit by bit, brick by brick, and build the future that we want for our community and for our state. So thank you all for coming here. This is a great day in the city of Albany, and thank you, Governor. It would not be possible without you.
Thank you. That concludes our program.